Georgia lawmakers opened their legislative session today. More than 60 bills had been filed before they walked in the door. 11 Alive's Doug Richards reports many of those bills would take on police reforms.
Lawmakers walked in here today to find a bunch of police reform bills, most of which were authored by one Clayton County lawmaker. Police reform was at the forefront of weeks of protests that roiled Atlanta and elsewhere last summer, following the killings of Rayshard Brooks, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and other African Americans at the hands of law enforcement. 1/10 of the bills introduced before this year's legislative session seek curbs in police and arrest powers. They have names like the Police Accountability Act, the Ethical Policing Act, the Stop Militarizing Law Enforcement Act, and the Preventing Tragedies Between Police and Communities Act.
Most of my bills derive from the community.
State Representative Sandra Scott introduced a half dozen law enforcement reform bills herself.
The 911 bill that I have, where people make false calls to the police officers because they see an African American coming out of a building where they don't think they belong. Those people should be prosecuted.
That's another one which would make biased 911 calls a misdemeanor. Scott, a Democrat, is accustomed to Republicans setting aside law enforcement reforms, but thinks this year might be different.
We still have a great divide that it will bring the General Assembly together, and hoping that the other side will understand that we need this type of legislation to bring about a change here in Georgia.
Last year, both parties came together to enact hate crimes legislation, but history suggests that Representative Scott would be fortunate to get consideration of a fraction of the police reform bills she's introduced.
Doug, thanks.